everyone. Welcome back to the Spotlight Games podcast, a drop in, drop out podcast. For episode 201 today, we are going to be covering all sorts of Xbox news, potential changes to Game Pass, why Pete Hines left Bethesda, and more news from the past week. I'm your host, Patrick, and dropping in with me, my sweet dumpster boy. Wait a second. You're not the dumpster boy. BlasterGoblin, welcome to the show.
Great value dumpster boy.
Great value dumpster boy is very good. BlasterGoblin, welcome to the show. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. Is this how he does every show? It's so dark.
Yeah, it is. Jake says we have dumpster boy at home. And Kayla wants to know, where's your boocha? Where's your booch, your kombucha? I don't know if you know this lore about Cayman, but he ferments his own kombucha. Do you ferment kombucha? Do you know?
Mine is my own fermented Coke Zero.
Very good. Very, very good. For those of you that don't know, we are engaging in yet another BlasterGoblin week. And originally, BlasterGoblin week was only going to be when he's on Drop In, Drop Out on Thursday, but then Cayman got the flu. And I was like, sounds like the perfect opportunity to bring BlasterGoblin in for even more BlasterGoblin week content. BlasterGoblin, I want to start this episode really fast before we do all the spiel and whatnot with a question.
Okay.
A question of the week, if you will.
Okay.
Am I engaging in potentially a new bit? Maybe. Is this the first time? Are you getting my first attempt at this? Yes.
I hope so.
And Cayman next week will be on the show and be like, what the fuck is question of the week? And it's going to be good. I almost called you dumpster boy because you really look like him in my periphery right now.
That's okay.
Which is good.
Do I need to take it off?
No, you can keep it on.
We can drop the bit.
I want you to be comfortable. Whatever brings you comfort, I want.
I'll slowly strip as we go through sections of the show.
Jake Twitchin has his own question of the week. Thumb in or thumb out?
I'm thumb out, usually.
Oh, no. Okay. And this, of course, must be what we're referring to with the middle finger.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, thumb out.
Or are you talking like hyperextending your thumbs and a thumbs up? What are you talking about, Quentin?
Two of these.
There you go. No, of course we're referring to the rectum, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I
forgot for a minute this is an audio podcast.
It can be visual too. We post on youtube.com/@dropin-dropout-pod right here. No, my question of the week, I really want to call you dumpster boy, and if I do, just roll with it. My question of the week, BlasterGoblin, do you remember a time that you were really disappointed in a video game?
Oh my god, yeah. And it's been content before. Yeah? And it's Hey You Pikachu.
Oh, tell me more. I'm listening.
I thought I saw the commercial for Hey You Pikachu. He said, I'm listening, and then disappeared. And I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen, that I can yell at Pikachu. Yeah. And then I went to Family Video and begged my mom to let me do the rental for the microphone with it. And I think it was probably a more expensive deal. I don't know. I was like 6, maybe. And we got home, and he didn't hear a thing. It didn't work at all. It just is a poorly designed game.
Yeah.
And I don't think I played it more than the one time, and then we returned it, and I never wanted to play it again.
I have never put my hands on Hey You Pikachu, and I don't think I've ever heard like a good thing about it before.
I think that's why I'm like only like 40% in on Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a childhood trauma.
Sure. I mean, hey, Jake in the chat says Glover was the first time he played a game and thought, wait, I think this is actually a bad game. I don't know if I remember having that thought. I do remember having the first thought of, wow, this game is really hard and therefore not fun. And it was the Batman game on the NES. I remember like wanting to like it more. I mean, I guess in a roundabout way, but I remember specifically thinking this game is so fucking hard. Why can't games be easier? Which makes sense now that I still complain about that 30 years later.
That for me was Driver.
Oh.
The tutorial was so difficult for me as a child.
Driver is a game I haven't thought about in so long. Wow. Huh. Very good. BlasterGoblin, we have a lot of video game stuff to talk about because this is the Spotlight Games podcast where each week we spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Drop In, Dropout Pod, or by searching for Drop In, Dropout Pod on your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on twitch.tv/Drop In, Dropout Pod. You might be wondering, folks, why am I searching for Drop In, Dropout for the Spotlight Games podcast? Well, that's because, of course, Spotlight Games is a Drop In, Dropout podcast. In fact, it is Drop In, Dropout's weekly video game news show on Tuesdays. So search us on all the different platforms. Follow us so that you know when we go live as well, so you can be part of the conversation. Some housekeeping around the world of Dido. Last night, we have in the chat High Score Weekly and Kayla Gray. Last night, they finished up Life is Strange Reunion. One more game covering that video game. And I didn't get to catch it because I've still not started the game. Swanky in the chat says they love it. I fear I heard they didn't. But, it happens. Next week, they're going to be doing an OG episode of the JK Games podcast, not an episode of One More Game. So stick around for that next week. JK Games podcast on Twitch. Also, we were talking about it in the pre-show. Our Replaced review is out now on YouTube, and we have a short on all the social medias. And from what I'm hearing, that game's pretty good. And maybe I'm going to talk about it in what we're playing here in just a minute. And then, of course, he's here right now, right next to me, but on Thursday, BlasterGoblin, coming back to this very channel for the end of the second BlasterGoblin week, when we discuss remakes and remasters in video games. The good, the bad, the ugly, the pros, the cons, the best, etc., etc., etc. BlasterGoblin, you excited about that episode?
I am, and I will be dressed in my own attire then.
Okay. How about that? Also, Rabbit says, Blaster what? I'm not falling for that because you're going to say BlasterGoblin these nuts. I'm not falling for it, Rabbit. All right? I'm not falling for it.
He doesn't even have to commit, and you still got it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, one more piece of housekeeping. Jake Twitchin, now friends with Tim Schafer of Double Fine. So, Jake, get Tim on the show as soon as possible. I hope you've already DM'd Double Fine asking to set up a conversation. If you haven't, you are dead to me. Quentin.
I saw that. It's quite a meet cute they had.
Oh my God. Like, can you believe it's like in hindsight, it's if you don't, for people that are listening or watching that don't know, if you go to Jake Twitchin's socials, he posted a short of him playing Kiln with Tim Schafer, founder of Double Fine. And if you don't know the premise of Kiln, you make a little ceramic thing and fight with it. A pot, a vase, a plate, etc. And of course, if you know Jake Twitchin, you won't be surprised to learn he made a butt plug in that video game. And it got squatted up with Tim Schafer, president and CEO of Double Fine, whatever his title is. And meanwhile, a member of Double Fine was in the chat and shared with Tim. And it sounds like maybe Jake is making some conversations, and I fucking hope that's true. Very, very, very exciting.
Can I say how impressive it was? Like the craftsmanship on that thing, like it was perfect.
Oh, I mean,
you could tell he really put the work in.
The flared bass, I mean, Jake.
You can tell he's seen one up close.
Yeah, you can tell Jake owns a couple in that house, and they probably belong to Swanky. Very, very funny stuff. Lots of R&D in that creation, says Swanky. Very good. BlasterGoblin, Quentin, the dumpster boy from Great Value. We are going to start our episode as we start all of our episodes here at Spotlight Games with what we have been playing. You are the guest of honor, so please tell me, sir, what have you been playing?
Okay, yeah, I kept this secret from you.
You did.
I'm in a bit of a game rut at the moment.
Okay.
I'm having trouble deciding what I want to play.
Yeah.
I just came off of Resident Evil 9 and Pacopia.
Okay.
Pacopia is still it's one of those games that's going to be for like the next year. It'll just kind of be going in the background. Like that's like just throughout the day, like 4 p.m. build a little shack or whatever.
In, maybe see if we can make a new connection with a new Pokemon. I get it.
So last night I was like, what game do I want to dig into next? And I decided to install 3 random games from Game Pass. I just scrolled through it and I was like, what in here is catching my eye? 2 of them I have never played. One I have played a little bit.
Okay.
The first one was Relooted.
Relooted?
Which I saw. Yes. It is a 2D side-scroller that I saw. It's more like a 2.5D side-scroller that I saw during Steam Next Fest.
Okay.
That it parkour game. Kayla says Relooted is great. Yeah, this would be the one that you got pulled up there. You, from what I gather, you go in and steal things from museums and take them back. But it looked really interesting, so I downloaded that.
Can I really quickly put you on the spot for
yes,
as a scholar?
mm-hmm.
Repatriate. I would have sworn that was a word Hideo Kojima made up. But they're saying it in this trailer. Do you know what the fuck that means?
I have never seen that word in my life.
It's something that happens in
That is
Death
a
Stranding.
new word.
I really...
okay.
Because Kojima makes up words all the fucking time. And I really... And then they say in the trailer and I'm like, I'm sorry. That's a real thing? Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no, never seen that word in my life. Also,
That's
never
so
played
funny.
Death Stranding, and that's probably why.
That's probably why.
Yeah. So yes, it is on Game Pass. I saw Kayla say that in the chat. All of these were just Game Pass grabs. The other one that I grabbed that was one that it just passed me by and I never got around to it. Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh,
and I think isn't Cog a big Star Wars Outlaws guy?
You would think that Cog's on the payroll of Star Wars Outlaws.
Okay,
He talks about that game. Yeah.
I have not started any of these. I installed them all last night, and I'm debating on which one to jump into next.
Okay.
But Star Wars Outlaws looked interesting enough. So, and I really like the Jedi game, so I was like, I'll give that a try, and we'll see what happens. The last one I got.
Okay.
This is why I left it off the list for you. This is the one I played about an hour of and never came back to.
Okay.
I installed Redfall last night.
No, you didn't.
I installed Redfall.
What did you think?
I think that I didn't give it a good enough chance the last time.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give it at least 5 hours.
Okay.
I'm gonna put the time in. Maybe
Okay.
I'll stream it. I don't know. I'm gonna put the time into Redfall and see if maybe I didn't see something there.
I'm surprised that
the first time
the fucking servers are still working for that game. To be honest. I would have
May not
expected
be.
it was shut down by now.
I mean, it's still on Game Pass, so it must be functional. Please stream Redfall.
You should absolutely stream Redfall, as
Okay,
Kayla
that's what
suggested.
do that Friday 9 p.m. streaming Redfall.
That's so funny.
I won't jump into it until then.
I played about an hour of Redfall at launch and had a fucking shit time. Like that, it's one of those things. It's like I think reviewers pretty much got that spot on. That is not a good video game.
I played it about hour 2 hours when it came out with a friend, and there's kind of that thing. I have like I can pay attention to one thing kind of brain. Like if I have to have a conversation back with someone while I'm playing something like that, I'm not picking up what's going on. I didn't catch any of the story. I didn't really know. I was just walking to waypoints and shooting stuff.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have like an onboarding to kind of figure out what I was doing. I just went straight into co-op. And I don't feel like I gave it a fair shake. So me and Redfall, we're gonna have a little time to hang out.
Can't wait to hear your experience on that. Maybe we kick Cayman off next week to bring you back. But just to hear it at the very least.
If anything, I can do a video message. I'll report in from Redfall.
High Score Weekly and basically half of the chat spamming the definition of repatriate. I'm going to say repatriate, like Patrick. Is the process of returning a person, such as a citizen, refugee, or prisoner of war, or a non-human entity like currency, art, or corporate profits, to their country of origin. Being told that not knowing that word is a privilege thing. Here I am, BlasterGoblin, in my privilege, not knowing that word. You and I together. So today we learned on Spotlight Games.
The homeschool brain don't know too much.
I always forget you were homeschooled, which
for most of it, yeah.
Honestly,
until high school,
really makes a lot make sense.
It's just me and a couple of Christian dogs learning math.
Just me and a couple Christian dogs.
That was in the books. They had little doodles of dogs that talked to you about Jesus and also division.
A couple things I've been playing, BlasterGoblin. Right before I started playing all of the games I'm about to talk about, also 3, as you had 3 to discuss. I was also in a rut. I also finished Resident Evil Requiem, and I've tried Crimson Desert a handful of times, and I just can't make it make sense to me. Like, it's just not clicking. I just don't care at all. And then for some reason, I just got this itch to play Red Dead Redemption 2. a game that I played back when it launched, but like a little late because it also didn't really click for me at launch. I eventually finished the game over the course of like 9 months, very slowly. This was like well before we were doing any sort of podcast stuff. And I remember liking it, but this time I don't know what is different this time around, but I'm like so in on Red Dead Redemption 2 right now. Like I have put close to 30 hours in already. Like I am in full role play mode. I'm smoking so many cigarettes as Arthur Morgan. I'm drinking all the time. I have currently my mustache is to an 8, but I'm keeping everything else at like a 2. And so I just have this like amazing cowboy mustache going on. And like I am, yeah, High Score Weekly, best Rockstar game by far in the chat. It is. I kind of like, and Jake saying it'd be a GOTY contender today. I agree. Like I was so much on the God of War train back in 2018, and I liked Red Dead Redemption 2. It was pretty high on my list that year, but I very much was like, oh, God of War, God of War, God of War, because that was like the big fight back in 2018. But man, hindsight is 2020 because Red Dead Redemption 2 is fucking so good. Like I can't believe how good the game looks 8 years later. I can't believe how good it feels. I can't believe that, like, I don't think I've played an open world game since 2018 that feels more lived in than the world of Red Dead Redemption 2. Like you're just riding your horse through the woods and you'll just stumble upon somebody just like hunting, and you just like have a quick little conversation with them and you're on your way, or you'll stumble into like a serial killer that has left a clue about someone he's murdered. Like there's so much that you can just walk into in that game. And like, I am not treading a single bit of new ground on this game, this 8-year-old video game, but I am so enamored with my new playthrough of this game. I'm having a great fucking time with this. Have you played RDR2?
I played it when it came out, which apparently was 8 years ago, and I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
I would have guessed like 5 maybe. But I am curious at what didn't click for you the first time. What do you think it was that stopped you when you were playing the first time?
Like I've been thinking about this a lot in the last few days, especially because like I can't put this game down. And I think part of it back then, because I loved Red Dead Redemption 1, and I think Red Dead Redemption 2, I remember one of my big qualms with it being the pacing and how kind of drawn out segments, and especially in that first like 2 acts of that game feel. And I think I just had the wrong impression going into the game. And now going into it this time, knowing ahead of time that it's a lot slower in that first 10, 20 hours than the first game is. I think knowing that, you know, it like the expectations thing, which is something I'm going to talk about right after this with Replaced, and with expectations kind of changing my experience a little bit. But I think that it's partly that. And also, it sounds so stupid, but I was like an hour in to this, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm remembering it's a very long tutorial in that game, like showing you all the different wheels and how you clean a gun and how you clean your horse and all these different things. And I was like going through one of the wheels, and I saw I had chewing tobacco, I had rum, and I had cigarettes. And I was like, you know what I never did a single time in my last playthrough was any of those 3 things. And I just like, something clicked in my brain where it's like, I want Arthur to smoke a bunch of cigarettes. And honestly, that kind of was an unlock for me of being like, oh, actually, wouldn't it be fun if I kind of role played Arthur here, where like, because I also typically play a game as the good guy. If I'm given a choice of good versus bad, I will go out of my way to be a good guy in a game with morality. But I'm kind of like playing it down the middle with Arthur, where it's like, because he's a very gray character. He robs banks, he robs people, he does a lot of bad shit, but he also has good intentions and a good heart and is trying to make the world around him a better place for the people that he loves. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be a bit of a fucking asshole as Arthur, but then when it makes sense to be good, I will be good then. And so I'm like, kind of, yeah, I'm a long-winded way of saying I'm kind of role-playing as Arthur now, and I'm having so much more fun than I did the first time doing it that way. And the cigarettes are a really big part of it.
Cigarettes are cool.
Cigarettes are fucking cool. Unfortunately, they're very cool. Squanky in the chat says it doesn't quite get there, but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was the closest I can think of since Red Dead Redemption 2 as far as the world feeling real and lived in. The little bit that I played of Kingdom Come, I see that for sure. I just didn't love like the bones of Kingdom Come. So, but I see that with the world being lived in for sure. Jake says, computer, make my Arthur Morgan fat, gay, and horny. That would be nice if we could do that.
Yeah, what you were saying about the world is I do remember that, like, because I have not played really since, because that's like, you know, like 40 hours, 50 hours of game, and then you're like, I don't want to touch this for a long time.
Sure.
Because it is so much. And I think I tried to do like online here and there, which was unsupported, so I didn't really stick with it.
Yeah.
But I do remember that time of like, I'd play, and then the next day I'd go into work, and like we'd all just like huddle around, like, what did you wander into in Red Dead 2? And just like we'd have the random encounter conversation every day of just like, I found this nonsense in the world, and it was nobody ever saw the same thing.
And like I remember the first time doing a good bit of the random encounters, but I remember because it's the kind of thing where I typically like to not stay on the golden path, but I like to kind of keep structure to what I'm trying to do. And this time I'm like, every time I see one of those little gray dots, what the fuck is it? I want to see what this random thing is. And so I'm seeing a lot of new stuff that I don't remember from 8 years ago. You know, some of it I've just forgotten because it's been 8 long years. But some of it I'm like, oh yeah, definitely never had this encounter before, which has been very fun. So another game that I've been dabbling with, I played about an hour before we went live, is the game that Drop and Dropout just released its review for, Replaced. And it's a game that I've been very excited about. Very is a bit hyperbolic. I've been excited about Replaced, but then it kind of fell off my radar because it was just taking so long to come out. And then it was like, oh, it's finally coming out like next week. And then Jericho and Jordan review it. And I cut the clip for their review, and I'm hearing some of the things they're saying. I'm like, man, I am so fucking hyped for this game now. And I played about an hour, and I'm kind of bored. And I'm wondering if it's I let their hype change what I was expecting of this video game. And now, like, do you ever get this situation, BlasterGoblin, where you're playing a game and it's just like you don't realize that it's not grabbing you, and then suddenly you're scrolling on your phone, and the game is just like still, and you're like on your phone, and you're like, why am I on my phone? I should be playing this game. And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm kind of bored right now. Do you get that?
Yeah, that's me with like every RPG ever. Anytime I get an RPG, I'm like, I'm in, and then eventually it just becomes I'm scrolling on my phone because it's just they don't RPG, especially fantasy RPGs, don't like draw me in.
Sure.
So I end up in that situation quite often.
Yeah.
Because I want to try them because everybody loves them so much, and I'm like, maybe it's me, and it's me. I know it's me.
Sure.
But
I'm gonna stick with it because it's so pretty. I'm so interested, like what they were saying in the review. I'm very interested in the world so far, and like there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. But I feel like for me, the combat does not feel it just feels like super simple and not very rewarding, and it's a bit slow by design, I think, with how you're moving through this world, and the platforming kind of feels really fucking bad. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to keep playing it because it's a very short game, and I played an hour, and like, maybe it was just a bad hour, but I was surprised that it really didn't, feel as good as I was then expecting it to feel. But then Coleman's in the chat saying he's heard that combat and platforming are the low parts about it. So that tracks because those are the two biggest gripes I have with the game so far. And then final thing, very quickly, Backyard Baseball has a demo out, a home run derby mode for the new Backyard Baseball coming out in July. And I played that for like an hour, and we're fucking back. Are you a backyard sports guy at all?
Backyard sports passed me up. It's never one I had access to as a kid, and I'm so jealous of everyone that did.
Yeah, man, it was an institution for me, and I like when it was announced like a year and a half ago that they were just bringing the old games back. I mean, it was like Christmas morning. Like there have been multiple times for me leading up to that I had tried to find a way to play them just from nostalgia, not expecting them to still feel as good as, there's issues with those games, but I ended up playing those games collectively for like 45 hours, like between all of them when they were all relaunched. And so I've been concerned that like, oh, what if the new one just doesn't feel as good or look as good or whatever. And man, I had so much fun. Like I can't wait for the new one to come out in July. So I was very excited about it.
Is it PC only or is it?
So far it's PC
consoles?
only for the demo, but I think they are launching the new game everywhere at the same time, I believe, but don't quote me on that in case I'm wrong. And if you do quote me, you'll be hearing from my lawyer.
Okay, that's fine. You can send it to Great Value Dumpster Boy.
Exactly. All right, let's jump into. Oh, Kayla says she's the lawyer, so you can send all inquiries to Kayla Gray at google.com. The email google.com.
Yeah.
A time for our first news story. This one comes from Tom Warren at The Verge. Xbox Game Pass has become too expensive, says Microsoft's new gaming chief in a leaked memo. Ash Sharma has signaled that Xbox Game Pass pricing is about to change. In an internal memo to Xbox employees obtained by The Verge, Sharma admits that, quote, Game Pass has become too expensive for players and that Microsoft needs a better value equation. Game Pass is central to gaming value on Xbox. It's also clear that the current model isn't the final one, she says. Quote, short-term, Game Pass has become too expensive for players, so we need a better value equation. Long-term, we will evolve Game Pass into a more flexible system, which will take time to test and learn around, end quote. Microsoft hiked the price of Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate by $229.99 per month last year, a massive 50% hike. The company tried to justify the price hike with a variety of upgrades across all of its Xbox Game Pass tiers, but the cost increase has clearly taken its toll on Game Pass. I understand that part of the cost increase, this is Tom speaking, for Game Pass was down to Microsoft's decision to add Call of Duty into the subscription service. I reported nearly 2 years ago that Microsoft had been debating whether or not to put the new releases of Call of Duty into Game Pass, with concerns from some at the company at the time that the revenue generated from typical Call of Duty sales would be undermined by Game Pass. But then they went on to add it in the summer of 2024. And ultimately, what the article goes on to say is that they are suggesting, or rather pontificating, if maybe it's time to remove Call of Duty from Game Pass to then be able to drop the price. BlasterGoblin. First of all, I think $29.99 for Game Pass, so expensive. So I'm
absolutely
relieved to hear that the head of gaming at Xbox shares that idea. But what is your kind of knee-jerk reaction to, one, ideally maybe the price is going to fall, and two, that might mean no more Call of Duty on Game Pass?
Reaction to price going fall is good because I no longer pay for Game Pass because I cannot justify $30 a month for Game Pass on top of the extra I'm paying for PlayStation Plus and Nintendo Online and switching between all these different consoles. $30 a month to one console is an insane amount of money. Agreed. Also, I still have access to Game Pass, so there's that because I have a friend that pays for it, so that works for me.
Oh, that's nice.
And I just whatever that console share thing is, and that's got me by. Maybe I'd give in and pay for it, but with that as an option, I can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
But as for Call of Duty, no, if you want to stick in this realm, stay in this realm.
Actually, let's stay in this realm for a second. Yeah, when I was so annoyed, I've talked about this on the show before, but there was a deal that like Wario64 had tweeted out one day, like 3 years ago. That was right before. Do you remember when you could stack Game Pass by way of Xbox Live Gold?
Mm-hmm.
So there was some deal where you could get Xbox Live Gold for a really cheap price. And they were basically like, if you buy 3 years of it, which is the max that you could buy, you can just turn all of that into Game Pass and you'll save like 60% of the cost of Game Pass over 3 years. So you had to front the cost. So it was like $300, but ultimately it saved me like $200. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was something like that. And so I did that. And literally the month it expired is when they made the price change of another $15 or $10 rather for Game Pass. And so it's like, fuck. I got away with it for so long of not having that pull for my credit card each month. But now that it's pulling $30 a month, it's like I keep forgetting to cancel. And like I was playing Replaced on Game Pass right before this, and literally I put a reminder in my phone. It's like, okay, when I'm done with Game Pass, fucking cancel it. And like Jake says in the chat, grab it for random months, because I couldn't tell you the last game I played on Game Pass. And so it's like I've just been throwing away money for the last X number of months because I've been so used to not paying for it each month. But yeah, so no more Call of Duty. What does that mean for you, BlasterGoblin?
While we're still in the cost thing, I'll take us back into the realm again. The other thing was that for a long time, I didn't do the stack thing, but I was using one of those sketchy websites you can go to on the internet where they're like, here you go, give us about 70% of the normal cost, and I'll give you a code, and it's just like a picture of the back of a scratched off Game Pass thing, and you're like, is my identity gonna get stolen? I don't know, but Game Pass is only $15 here.
That's so funny.
I did that for a while, and then that stopped, and right after that stopped is when they jacked the price up, and I was like, yeah, I think that's good for me, because I didn't want to pay the full price to begin with.
That's so funny.
As for Call of Duty, I think pulling it off is a bad call.
Yeah.
I know that they're getting the revenue. They want the revenue of the sale of Call of Duty, because that's bigger than anything Xbox has. That's bigger than anything Bethesda's going to put out. Their entire catalog of games can't make the money that Call of Duty can make in a year.
Yeah.
It's stupid how much that makes. But so many people have Game Pass for Call of Duty. I know people that their only reason they have Game Pass is Call of Duty, which doesn't make any sense because they're paying, $30 a month to have Call of Duty all year when they could just
they could have just bought it for $70.
But they're like, I get Call of Duty, and then I can play these other things when I fall off of Call of Duty, waiting for the next one. I think there are much more things you could cut from Game Pass to lower that price before Call of Duty.
Do you think so I like this train of thought as an option instead of just saying, all right, let's just cut the biggest draw for a lot of people, not for me, but for a lot of people. Do you think perhaps then it is like, maybe it's not every single first party. Maybe it's they would have to figure out like what is the system for like, is Kiln, but then not Fable, but then Forza is, but then Gears of War isn't. Like that, I think could get messy. But do you think that there's some kind of in between there where like we're still getting day one, but maybe it's not just like every single Xbox game instead?
I think that gets messy in the realm that we already have it. That's like the lower tier of Game Pass, where things aren't day one, but they kind of like trickle in as the like months go on. But I think there's a world where you can have which I know people are immediately gonna like, it's gonna like siren set off like, no, don't do that. More tiers of Game Pass.
Sure.
If you could pick and choose kind of the things you want, I think that helps a lot with this issue of like, what are all these useless things that I don't want here? Why am I going to pay $30 a month for all these things I absolutely would never use? I'm not playing Fortnite. I think that's your biggest price saver right there. They added that Fortnite Game Pass thing. Cut that. Nobody cares. Cut that. Nobody is getting Game Pass for Fortnite battle passes.
Sure. Yeah, when they did the 50% hike increase, they tried to add in things like the Fortnite of it all. But yeah, like for me, I would, like right now I'm planning on canceling Game Pass. But if I could still pay for Game Pass $10 a month, but I only get like 2 first party games, but I get to choose them. Like that to me is like the perfect Game Pass model for me specifically. That's probably not a great business strategy, but it's the kind of thing where it's like, I just don't play enough, because like so many of the smaller games that launch on Game Pass, like a Replaced as an example, I could just play that on the PC, or I could just play that on eventually when it comes to PlayStation. But because I have Game Pass, I'll play it there. But like if I get rid of Game Pass, I'll just wait for that game somewhere else, or I'll buy it somewhere else. But I feel like there are probably a lot of people who will just never play Replaced because it's not on Game Pass. And so it's like, I guess trying to figure out how do we separate those types of people and still sell to them, I think is probably the question they're trying to figure out, which
I think if
is
we're
weird.
if we're gonna go in the route of like what's the best option for Game Pass, I think going kind of like the Amazon route, like
Mm-hmm.
Amazon Prime. So when you get Amazon Prime, like you have that like video service, and then you can be like, let's add on Peacock and Hulu and whatever. For whatever reason, Amazon you can just have all of the other streaming services through.
Yeah.
Where Game Pass you have Game Pass, and then you have EA Play also runs through there, and Ubisoft Plus or whatever I think is a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they have Call of Duty, and the Fortnite things. I think if you have more of a tiered structure of like you have Game Pass, and then do you want Game Pass plus Ubisoft or Game Pass plus EA or Game Pass plus Fortnite, that seems like a better business. I
Sure.
would say that's a model to get people what they want. It can lower the price so they're not paying for all these extra things. And then I don't know the business sense of that, of how much Ubisoft has got to be taking a cut, and EA has to take a cut. All these
Sure.
places are cutting into getting all these games on this service. I think maybe that's a better way to work out lower prices, and then they're also seeing what people are like really wanting from Game Pass.
Yeah.
Because
I've,
if they do that and like 4 people get Fortnite, what's even the point of having that contract? Just cut
sure.
it.
I've always been so interested ever since Ubisoft's Connect. No, Connect is their like dashboard thing. Whatever the
Yeah,
Ubisoft service is,
I
EA
believe it's
Play,
Ubisoft Plus.
Ubisoft Plus. Like, do people actually use those enough to? I mean, they must use them enough to justify it existing, right? Because to me, it doesn't feel like it should be.
Look, when I open Game Pass and it's like 19 Assassin's Creeds, I just scroll right on past those. Those don't matter to me. Like I don't want
Yeah.
all those old Assassin's Creed games.
I'm realizing my computer is freaking out right now. I don't know if it's an internet thing. I don't know if it's a computer thing, but Kayla in the chat also telling me I'm choppy. Is
Oh
that
no.
happening for you? When
Yeah, you were a little choppy there for a minute.
are you?
Visually, audio was fine. Visually,
Yeah.
you were a little bit choppy.
Computer. Okay, so if it's just audio, feel free to blame Gabi. I mean, any reason to blame you, I will take.
I do like Swanky's
Yeah, it's
comment
weird. It
though
seems
of cable TV 15 years ago, because that is exactly what I just pitched for Game Pass, but it makes
yeah,
sense to me.
sure, yeah, for sure. Because also like the cable conversation of it all, you bring in streaming services too, of like with how shitty the ecosystem has gotten, it feels crazy for me to keep paying for everything because there's just so much content to be consuming that it's like I come to this place where I'm like, at some point, some corporation is not going to get my money because I don't have enough money to give to everybody, because I don't have enough time to give to everybody either. So it's like then it starts becoming a cost benefit analysis, right? Of like, okay, I'm spending $30 a month on Game Pass and I'm playing it once every 2 months. I am draining money. Like, so I might as well cancel it. But if Asha Sharma decides we're going to drop Game Pass to $10, $15, maybe that lower price tag is enough for me to stick around and cancel Hulu instead. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm very interested to see where we go from here. I do want to ask though part two of this conversation, because when Asha Sharma was announced to be leading Xbox, and Phil stepped down, Sarah Bond left, all these things. The question was, because she was saying like, I want to bring Xbox back to the way that it was. Do we think that could then mean, if we're going to be removing Call of Duty from Game Pass potentially, as it was a few years ago, do you think they might go back down the exclusivity route, or do you think that is not a genie that you can put back in the bottle like you can with what is on Game Pass?
I think gaming is such a weird ecosystem that I've talked about it before, how weird it is that this is the only medium where you're like, here's my box and that's the only way you can use my stuff. Like as if Sony was like, here's my Blu-ray, and the only way you can watch Spider-Man is on this Sony Blu-ray player. Like
Yeah.
that's such a weird thing that only happens in the gaming world. And I think if they said it, we'd be like, okay, because what can we do?
Sure.
We're so used to it. Nintendo's still doing it. Like you're not gonna play Mario on PlayStation. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So if they're like, yeah, we're gonna put Halo on PlayStation, but the rest of them aren't. Like it's not good. It doesn't feel like that's like we're taking it away from you. We gave you Halo over there, but the next one's not going to come there.
Sure.
It almost feels like an advertisement.
Like, come get an Xbox.
Yeah. Like
Sure.
I don't think that there's like, yeah, the games journalists, and they'll be mad for a little bit about why can't we just play everything wherever we want. And the answer for that is capitalism. That's just what it is.
Sure.
We can't do anything about it.
Squangy in the chat says, pretty baller move if she's able to pull off lowering the price in a way that doesn't upset the most fragile demographic that has ever existed in human history.
Absolutely.
Well, the truth is, no matter what is done, that fragile demographic, the oppressed gamer, as you say, will be upset and it will freak out, and death threats will be made. Adult virgins, another way to put it. Thank you, Jake. But I don't know. I do think that Kayla also saying in the chat, I don't think they would go back. I do wonder at what point is the money that they're making by putting Halo on PlayStation, Forza on PlayStation, Gears on PlayStation, is that too good to go back to, why don't you come back to Xbox for exclusive games? I think the answer almost certainly is yes. I feel like it's one of two things. Either you pull down Game Pass's price so that you make Game Pass a more alluring option for the oppressed gamer, or you say Halo is no longer going to be on PlayStation. In order to get it, you have to come to Xbox. But for $30, you can get that and every other game that we do. I feel like you can't do both right now. The market is deeming that you can't do both, because the reason that they're wanting to drop Game Pass is because numbers are down. You've canceled. Jake's canceled. I'm going to cancel. Like, they're seeing that numbers are down, so it's time to change something. So, I don't know. Interesting.
Do you think that taking Call of Duty away from Game Pass is a test to see if Xbox users are still buying games? Because it is statistically proven out there. When you look, the sales on Xbox are a quarter of what they are anywhere else, even less than that. Nobody is buying games as often on Xbox as they are on other consoles, because most of them are on Game Pass. We've been trained to do that.
Yeah.
I've been trained to be like, oh, this game's coming out. Is it on Game Pass?
Yeah.
Like, that's my first step is it here? And then I'm one of the few that's like, I guess I'll buy it. Because so many people are like, is it on Game Pass? Oh, it's not? It will be in 3 months.
Yeah.
So why buy it?
I mean, that's such a good point. The last Xbox game that I purchased was South of Midnight, specifically because I wanted to show them that there are people that want a second attempt to make that game better. Before South of Midnight, I honestly do not remember the last game that I bought from Xbox. It honestly probably was either early Xbox One generation or Xbox 360. Like, legit, I don't think I've purchased a Microsoft Xbox game other than South of Midnight in like at least a decade, if not longer. I've not considered it that way. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Because we have been trained.
I'm a primary Xbox player, and I'm also, as you see, I'm a physical guy. I go out. I like to get physical. I go out and buy games, not physically touching people. I see it there when I go into stores. Like, the shelves are always like, the PlayStation aisle is pretty full, and then there's like 2 copies on Xbox.
Yeah.
Or like, I had this problem with Resident Evil Requiem when I was going to get it physical, and I just didn't get around to the pre-order, and it sold out so fast, and I couldn't find an Xbox copy, and that's what I wanted. That's where I have all the others, and I was like, I guess I'll just wait until maybe another one pops up, because nobody buys Xbox games. Why make so many? Why put them out there?
That's such a good point. And like, I mean, they've been doing it for so long now. The numbers must be good enough for them to have kept doing it this way. But That's so fascinating. Huh. I'm interested, BlasterGoblin. I'm interested. You've made me interested. We do have some more Xbox news to discuss, and this next story, not very good. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Pete Hines, who you might know as a former higher up at Bethesda, says that he quit Bethesda because post Xbox, or he quit Bethesda post Xbox because, quote, it's part of something not genuine. He suggests that he was frustrated about the direction of the Elder Scrolls publisher. Hines quit Bethesda in 2023 after 24 years at the company shortly after the release of Starfield, which was its first game since Microsoft acquired its parent company ZeniMax Media in 2021 in a $7.5 billion deal. Speaking in a frank interview with Fireside Chat, I don't know that we pronounce the Z, but it's in the word. So I'm saying Fireside Chat. The former Bethesda veteran claimed that it was always his intention to leave the company after Starfield shipped and suggested that he was unhappy with the direction of the company post Microsoft acquisition. Quote, it was really hard to walk away from my team and not get to see them on a regular basis. At the same time, I also hit a point of realizing I could not spend the rest of my life doing something that wasn't for me. It was for everybody else, which is what I was doing. I was staying there because this place still needs me. I just hit a point of, yes, it needs me, and I'm powerless to do what I think needs to be done to run this place properly, to protect these people, to maintain what we worked so hard to create, which is an incredibly efficient, well-run video game developer and publisher. And when I couldn't protect it and I saw how it was getting damaged and broken apart and frankly mistreated, abused, whatever word you want to use, I said, I'm not going to sit here and watch this happen right in front of me. I think I've done everything I can do. This is not when I wanted to end it or how I wanted it to end, but that's not really up to me. And at a certain point, truthfully, my mental health was so deplorable that I just said, I cannot. He goes on to say that, like, whenever it was being delayed, that he felt like, fuck, I got to stay around here now because I want to see Starfields to be shipped. And then, yeah, kind of the article closes out with, to talk is something, right? This is Pete again, but I'm very much about what is the follow-up to that? Do you mean what you say, or are you just saying shit that sounds good, and then as soon as you leave this room, that's completely forgotten? Because that is not how we ever operated at Bethesda. And that's not to say everything we said we did. We probably didn't fucking come close to that, but that was absolutely our intention. We're going to do what we say and say what we do and be genuine and authentic. And truthfully, I think Bethesda is just part of something that is not authentic and is not genuine, and that shouldn't be a surprise to you. He, of course, referring to the Microsoft of it all, the Xbox of it all. I was really shocked reading this. And maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe egg on my face for being surprised that Microsoft spent all this money on Bethesda, and then turns out it seems like, from their perspective, is not running a very good operation for them. But what's your take on this, Quentin?
I mean, I saw it and I was like, well, this seems kind of like something that we all saw. It was through, like, hazed over glass.
Yeah, sure.
Like, this is through a bathroom window we're looking in.
Yeah.
Like, you can kind of see what's going on just based off of how everything has gone at Xbox since probably the last 5 years or more. Really, since, like, Phil has been running the ship, it's been like, we're going to throw money at stuff, and if it doesn't work immediately, who cares? Get rid of it. It's not important to us anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of seemed like there was writing on the wall that people weren't as happy with once they got there, and things weren't working out once people got with Xbox. Like, they were making these big plans of, they were saying they're going to support these studios and give them all the, creative freedom to do what they want, and we'll just back them up with whatever they need.
Yeah.
And then they seemed surprised when things failed, not because the creative idea wasn't there. There was nobody, like, supporting them.
Sure. I mean, the Tango Gameworks of it all, like, this a very successful studio releases Hi-Fi Rush, sells well, critically acclaimed, boom, shut the doors. They had to go find a new home. So, I mean, you make a good point of, like, it seemed, especially at that point, after Bethesda was acquired, it seemed like there was so much coming from Phil of, like, we want to put the gamer first. That's why we're bringing you even more games than ever to Xbox Game Pass. And, like, a lot of it in hindsight did feel pretty ham-fisted of, like,
I think a lot of their philosophy was, like, quantity over quality.
Yeah.
I think Redfall was a good example of that.
Yeah.
They threw this game out there. It didn't immediately get tens, and they were like, okay, well, just shut the studio down. Don't support the game. Don't fix the problems with the game that people just bought. Don't
Yeah.
upset our fan base.
Yeah.
We'll just get rid of it. Don't even try to bring anything back from that.
Yeah. Swanky in the chat saying Obsidian the only one pumping out games for them, and that we're bringing you Elder Scrolls 6 in 10 years and Fallout 5 in 2 decades, which honestly is probably still a little not long enough. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I feel like when we were talking about all of the Asha Sharma stuff when she took over, and I don't know, I had this like bad feeling about the trajectory of Xbox, getting rid of Phil, getting rid of Sarah Bond. But then I hear a story like this and I'm like, I mean, maybe, the grass is always greener, but maybe a new strategy would be good for all parties involved, including the consumer, but also the developers, because it sounds like maybe it's not as good from the inside as they would like us to think it.
Can I take Phil Spencer to task for a minute?
Yeah, please do.
I'm sure everybody likes Phil. He's a cool guy, it seems. I've never met him, but he seems like a cool guy. He's the gamer guy that's on all the podcasts. He's talking to you. He's the face of Xbox.
Sure.
But it's always kind of felt like Phil came in and he was just there for Xbox to give up. Like,
interesting. Say more.
We'll throw our exclusives away.
Yeah.
We'll throw our box away. This isn't working. We're not going to try. We're not going to fight it. Just give up. Try to make money where you can. And I think that's kind of been Phil's whole thing. And I think the entire time he was coming in, like, we're doing this for you. We're making promises. We're going to help people. And really it was just, I'm going to say this to get everybody on my side because I'm such a nice, personable guy. Everybody loves Phil. But I'm just trying to figure out where I can just quickly make money from. And if it's cutting the box and telling people play Xbox on their phone, then that's what I'm going to do.
Sure. I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of the persona that he had built, he was in a very, very powerful position of a multi-billion-dollar company. So, like, at the end of the day, it certainly is just about the bottom line, that especially a company like Microsoft. But, I mean, you might be onto something, that it was a bit of a mask being worn, and eventually the mask did not fit the face anymore, and thus now we need somebody else to come in and try something different.
I think there was signs of it crumbling over the years. Like like he got in there and we were all like, yeah, Phil. And then the promises kept getting broken and things just kept getting more expensive and worse, and games getting canceled and people getting laid off. And it's like, oh, maybe Phil isn't as great as he's told us he was.
Yeah, it was a bummer reading this interview or the reporting of this interview, because, as basically all of us, most of us here, consumers of Kind of Funny content, and Pete being on Kind of Funny all the time, I kind of grew to really like Pete from Bethesda, and when they would call him before conferences and stuff. And so to hear it was really shitty, it's like, oh, that's a bummer that he was in such a position of power and just was having a bad fucking time. Which
I do love this move though. It's like when you get a new job and you're like the whole time you're like, yeah, I like this job, and then you get a new job and you're like, that was the worst place I've ever worked.
Yeah, for sure.
Place. Everyone there sucked.
For sure. Well, let's go into today's news spotlight. If this is your first time around the Spotlight Games podcast, we like to end our show with just some quick headlines. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about them. Maybe we won't. But this is just the rest of the news from the last week. And I've started breaking them into little mini topic sections. And so first, I'm going to introduce Quentin's Quickie, which you said that there was a news story you wanted to discuss in tonight's news.
Yeah, we got a Skate update.
Yeah?
Skate has Nike SB stuff finally in the store. It took a long time. My eyes look so small now that I took this off.
They do.
I feel like my eyes are very tiny.
It's very strange.
Which is also how I feel every time I see Cayman's eyes, because I've only I came in the glasses era, so when I see him without him, I'm like, he has the tiniest eyes I've ever seen. Man,
going back, preparing for episode 200 last week and getting a bunch of old clips and seeing so much pre-sunglasses era came in, I was like, man, it feels so weird seeing your eyes, because him and I, we've been friends for 20 years, but we're at a point in our relationship where we really only see each other by doing the podcast, because we don't live close to each other anymore. we live like 2 hours apart. And so I really only ever see him in sunglasses too anymore. Like I barely see his eyes. And so it is strange for me too. All of that to say.
Yeah, it was strange to see myself, and it's been what, like an hour?
Yeah,
maybe?
right.
But anyways, Skate. I like it. Nobody else does, because it's kind of on brand for me to like skate games. Their amount of like branded stuff like in the store to wear, it's not been great. They've got like Vans, and like that's it. So Nike SB feels like a big, like a massive left out thing that should have been there from day one.
Yeah.
So now they've got it, and there's an event for it.
Okay.
And their events are okay. Some of them are great. Some of them are pointless. And I haven't been able to dive into it because it dropped today. So maybe someday I'll have something to say about it. But at the moment...
Can I buy a pair of Nike Shocks in Skate?
I don't think so.
No deal.
Are those a part of the SB brand, like the sub brand?
I have no idea what the SB brand is.
There's Nike, and there's Nike Skateboarding is their own brand. That's like a sub brand.
Yeah, no. Nike Shocks, that's that's like a 2006 shoe.
Yeah.
That's a very old shoe.
I'm going to say they're probably not a part of the SB brand. The SB brand's been around a long time. Like late 90s, I'd say.
Okay.
Bam Margera, famously their first rider for Nike SB.
How about that? Very, very good. Very exciting. Kayla asks in the chat, did you play Skate Story, the indie?
I don't know. I did not play Skate Story. I got it mixed up with Skate City. But Skate City. Skate Story I have not. It's on my playlist. What wish list backlog?
Sure.
That's what I'm looking for.
So then
it looks really cool. I'm really interested in it.
So then would you say that you're not really a fan of skateboarding then, if you haven't played every skateboarding game?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a fraud. I told you earlier, I'm failing into success. I'm just a fraud. I'm making this up as I go along.
Okay. Oh, very good.
Tony Hawk worked, and I've been running with it since.
Ooh, this is you should do this video of, taking an idea of Kayla's and saying do it somewhere that's not drop and drop out, which is blasphemy, but ranking all games where you skateboard except Tony Hawk.
Okay.
Is good.
Do hoverboards count? Because if so, Jack 2 is way up there.
Hoverboards, I think, would count.
Okay, Jack 2's way up there.
Yeah, I think. And maybe there's like a subsection of like, if here's like the prime just skateboarding, but then if we're including things like hoverboarding, definitely Jack 2. Okay. I think. Maybe we can make this list together.
This is a really difficult list to make, but I'm up to the challenge.
Squanky says rage bait and pretend you've never heard of Tony Hawk. These are these are the best skateboarding games ever made, and not a single Tony Hawk game on there would get you at least 15,000 views just from hate for sure.
Oh yeah.
Next up in the news spotlight, we have the casting corner, BlasterGoblin, which sometimes the casting corner isn't about specifically casting news, but it is just like TV, film, etc. Bloodborne officially returning as an R-rated animated movie, and Jacksepticeye is producing the film. And that's all we have so far about this. Do you care about Bloodborne, the animated film?
I do not. I played Bloodborne a little bit. I'll probably put in like 5-6 hours. I get it. I get why people like it. Yeah. And I'm happy that they're finally getting something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't really
care about Jacksepticeye either.
Sure. Yeah. Same. All love and respect. However, couldn't care less. How about this one you might care about? 20 years of pre-production limbo. Metal Gear Solid movie may actually be happening, and new directors are connected to the project. Lipovsky and Stein, directors of Final Destination Bloodlines. Metal Gear Solid the movie, it's coming back. Maybe. Are you excited?
I already thought it was. That's how up to date I am on the Metal Gear movie. I thought this movie was like going strong in production.
Very good.
You told me it wrapped filming yesterday. I had no idea.
That is so funny. No layoff lounge today. No layoffs. How about that? At least that made the news.
That is great news.
Yeah.
That might be the first conspiracy about Phil.
I mean, you're not wrong. That might be the first time there hasn't been layoffs on an episode of Spotlight Games in a very long time. A new one, leek soup, spelled like the vegetable. Is the leek a vegetable? No, it's a root, spelled like the vegetable. But of course, I'm referring to leaks around the industry BlasterGoblin. Spider-Man model appears to tease new PlayStation game in now deleted post. If you know, you know, with a spider emoji. To which I say, what an idiot. To post himself in fucking performance capture with the spider emoji.
And honestly, the most iconic face, like you see that guy's face, you know what he's working on, because we
Correct.
all had to have a big deal over that face when he just
Correct.
showed up, and we're like, who is this guy?
Jesus Christ. Unbelievable.
This had to be approved, right? Like somebody had to be like, do a fake leak.
Yeah.
There's no way that's fake. That's a real leak.
It might be. It might be. With Wolverine coming out very soon, though, it feels kind of crazy for them to want to have people talking about Spider-Man right now. But hey, I do marketing as my day job, but I'm not very good at it.
Maybe it's we're working on Spider-Man. Doesn't that get you excited for Wolverine that we keep forgetting to talk about everywhere?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Our second serving of leak soup, Indonesia's rating boards just leaked huge spoilers for 007 First Light and other unreleased games. They published an hour of spoiler footage along with story details, and also it was delayed on Switch to later this month or later this summer, with no date given. 007 First Light. Spoilers. Beware out there, folks. And then a story that has been making the rounds recently, Rockstar was hacked and they were being threatened by hackers that they were going to leak very sensitive information. Turns out that sensitive information was just sales of Red Dead Online and GTA Online, which also, by the way, they make so much fucking money every week.
They make a lot of money.
Oh my God. It's like nearly $10 million a week they're making.
It baffles me how much money it was. It's like, it's like 10 million a week, something like that.
It's something like that. It was like 5 of it was PlayStation, like 2 on Xbox current gen, and then like $1 million on each of the previous consoles. PC was like another $250,000. Like they're making fucking money.
This baffles me because I was a GTA Online diehard for years.
Yeah.
Like I have over 10 days probably worth of game time. Like on the game clock. That's playing, not paused. That's a lot of time I spent in GTA Online only, and I've never spent $1 on that game. Never bought a shark card. Never done any of that. I've just bought the game. Yeah. I mean, I bought like 6 copies of it over the years, like 3 decades it's been out.
Yeah,
but I've never once given them money for anything. Who is doing that? How are they making so much money?
I really don't know. I mean, I feel like, because that game is also just like in the top sales charts like every year still, part of it must be people growing up getting into the game. You know, they were younger playing Minecraft, now they're playing GTA Online, probably still too young to be playing GTA Online. But then part of it, I think there is a corner of gamers like there are that just play Madden every year or Call of Duty every year that just play GTA Online and are just like, they just love GTA and just want more GTA, and maybe they play 1 or 2 other games a year, but they're just fucking in that and spending fucking money. Because to be making millions every week, you got people spending and swiping that fucking card. Crazy.
Which I also don't get, because like I said, I played it that much. I haven't been deep into GTA in years.
Yeah.
I've had like one couple month run since COVID, and then have been out of the game.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how many people are still like running that game all the time. Like at some point it does get a little old.
I'll be so interested to see what happens to GTA Online when 6 comes out, because they're going to have their own online thing, I'm sure, but is it like FIFA in places where it's like that game has legs 15 years later, just because of people love it that much. I don't know. Swanky saying that information was Rockstar makes a ton of fucking cash. That would be like me blackmailing Patrick because I had proof of his massive hog, which was very good. We're moving on to the Rumor Railway, not the Rumor Mill. No, because that doesn't have alliteration. The Rumor Railway. Fable's release has reportedly been pushed back over GTA concerns, speaking of, it may be deeper into fall or even into 2027. The rumor also states from Jeff Grubb that it was supposed to drop in November. He says, quote, apparently they're still trying to get it out this year, but they're worried about the launch of GTA 6. And so if it's getting delayed because of the release of GTA 6, that could push it into December, which might make it a prime candidate to get delayed into 2027, he added.
Bad call.
Bad call. I agree.
Bad call.
I agree.
If you're afraid of GTA 6, get out ahead of it.
Yeah,
Don't go out after it. This
agree.
game's going to have legs. It's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah.
As we just talked about.
Correct.
And there's going to be people spending money on it. And as Rockstar has done for the last 2 games, online's launching weeks after, a month after.
Sure.
It always does. And that's how it's going to work again. And that's a whole other month you got to push your game back.
Yeah.
Get out ahead of it. Don't get in front of or behind it.
And I kind of expect that it'll be longer than just a month this time. Like I almost feels like it's going to be like 2 or 3 because of how big this game is, making sure that it doesn't launch a fucking mess. But I don't know. We'll see.
Now, I don't know how familiar you are with GTA Online because we've talked a little bit about it behind the scenes about GTA Online. And I
played it at launch.
Okay.
And then I played it. I mean, I'm talking like an hour maybe when it very first launched, when it was buggy as shit and broken. And then several months later, when it was like fixed, I hopped in for like 3 hours maybe, but I really didn't play much. Was a GTA
exactly where I was going?
Really?
It was a bit of a tiered launch of like it launched, it was a little buggy, and then they fixed the bugginess. And then they launched heists afterwards, and it was like it was like having almost 3 separate launches to GTA Online.
That's right.
And that every time it was like booming numbers back up. So that's why I'm saying you got to get it. You got to get behind this thing. Do not
for sure. That's a really good point. I forgot about how staggered that release was. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like, part of the rumor, I guess, which we mentioned, was that it was supposed to drop in November. It's like, man, if you could just try to get that first week of November so that you like make your chances as good as they possibly can be that you'll be ahead of GTA, if GTA is also a November title. But yeah, I feel like that game is not in good shape if they have to push it. But hey, who knows? Maybe GTA will be pushed to 2027 and it'll all be for naught. This next one, BlasterGoblin, didn't really fit into a fun subtitle. So I just call this a story that didn't fit anywhere else in my dumb bit, but I still wanted to talk about it. This is about State of Decay 3. So the studio head Philip Holt at Undead Labs was on a podcast recently. It said, so that game you might remember was announced in 2020. It was during an Xbox showcase in 2020. And we have not seen a peep of that game since. And he basically unveiled in this podcast that trailer in 2020 was the only thing that had been built for that game when it was announced. And that all they had was in Word docs. They didn't have a single thing coded or built or anything, which now makes sense 6 years later why we've still not heard a single fucking thing about that game. Because when they unveiled it, it was literally nothing. And I'm like, why did you unveil it? Like, I came late to State of Decay. I fell in love with that franchise, like, maybe around 2020, actually. 2020, 21-ish. I played both of them back to back and had such a blast. And so I've been really looking forward to State of Decay 3. And every year, it's like, oh, maybe this is the year that we finally see State of Decay 3 again. And now I'm like, wow, is it even this year? I don't know. But
yeah, I was on the ground floor of State of Decay. Like the day it launched on 360, I was like, I got to play this. And then I saw this trailer and I was like, I'm so excited. And then cut to me, every single thing Xbox was at, like, I wonder why they didn't talk about State of Decay again. Yeah. I wonder where that's at. They keep bringing up Fable. Mm-hmm. They keep talking about these other things. Where's State of Decay?
What a mess.
Now we know.
He said, also one of the things, it was so early, I think there wasn't even a team. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 people. An Xbox showcase, they only had 4 or 5 people working on this game. That was a Word doc, and they still announced it. It's fucking crazy to me.
This was a guy going, what if we do State of Decay 3? And they were like, somebody make a trailer.
Correct. And then, of course, we like to end our news spotlight with a happy ending, which, of course, is just good news, Quentin. It's Animal Crossing's 25th anniversary today.
Oh boy.
And there's a present in game for Assassin's Creed. Nope. Animal Crossing New Horizon players in the form of a leaf statue, which is very good. So if you haven't booted up Animal Crossing in a while, go get a big old leaf statue and a cute little note about the 25th anniversary. And then also more Xbox news. Metro 2039. I skipped the first two numbers. Metro 2039 being announced Thursday at an Xbox showcase, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I guess it's been announced now because they told us that it's going to be there. So now it's like they're showing it. I guess announced is the wrong verb. And then finally, Nintendo confirms a summer release date for Rhythm Heaven Paradise Groove of July 2nd. Are you a Rhythm Heaven sicko?
Never touched one.
Me either. And that's our show. Yeah, no, wrong button. I'm excited to try it out. It looks fun, but I just don't know it. Yeah, Jake is very excited about Rhythm Heaven. So if he's excited,
I'm not sure I could tell you what it is.
From what I remember of the trailer, it's like it's a rhythm game, but it's like it's almost like WarioWare, the rhythm game. It seemed of like where it's all these different like scenarios and little mini games of a rhythm game is from what I've gathered from the trailer. I'm just going off vibes, totally guessing. I could be wrong, but the little bit of marketing that I've experienced of that game, that is what I assume Rhythm Heaven, what is the subtitle? Paradise Groove is all about, which is launching July 2nd. So we'll see. But that is the end of our show. Of course, thank you for being here for everybody in the chat. Cirrus, Swanky, Cognitive Clips, Kayla, and everyone else that has been here from times past and presently. We're going to be back Thursday night right here on twitch.tv/drop in drop out pod with BlasterGoblin to talk about remakes, remasters, what we like, what we don't like, the best that there's ever been, etc., and so on. Which, by the way, I need to send you more information on that podcast because I have not sent you enough yet. But BlasterGoblin, for the folks that don't know you, if this is the first time they've ever experienced you on a mic and they were like, this blonde baddie really has something going for him. I want to go follow this guy.
Where they just found out I'm blonde.
Yeah, exactly.
They can go to blastergoblin.com. That's the easiest place to send people. You can find everything. There's link trees. You can find everything because I'm in too many places.
Oh yeah.
But go to the YouTube. That's where I want you at.
Easy. Drummer Fever, don't get me started on remasters. Well, we hope to see you on Thursday to get you started on remasters. But that is the end of our show. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to episode 201 of the Spotlight Games podcast, a drop in, drop out podcast. We'll see you next week right here, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And until then, bye-bye.